People have been pronounced dead and then came back, not confused, not dreaming, but aware. Some described leaving their bodies, watching doctors work on them, hearing conversations they should not have heard. Others described places that felt more real than life itself. And when they returned, they were no longer afraid of death. What if these stories are not hallucinations? What if consciousness doesn't end when the brain stops? Because if even one of these experiences is real, then death is not what we think it is. And that idea is deeply unsettling. A near-death experience, or NDE, is reported by people who are clinically dead or close to it. Their heart stopped. Their brain activity dropped or vanished. Their body shut down. Yet later, they remembered something. Doctors have studied these cases for decades. Scientists have tried to explain them. Skeptics argue they are dreams, chemicals, or panic. But some stories refuse to fit those explanations because they include details that were later confirmed. And that's where the mystery begins. The first story comes from a man who suffered cardiac arrest during surgery. Doctors later confirmed his heart had stopped. Brain activity was minimal. Yet the man described floating above his body. He said he watched the doctors panic. He noticed a nurse drop an instrument. He heard a doctor say, "We're losing him." Later, when he recovered, he repeated those exact words. The staff were shaken. He also described a strange calm, no pain, no fear, only awareness. Then he felt pulled back into his body and woke up screaming. The second case involved a woman who collapsed at home. She was unconscious for several minutes. Her breathing stopped. She later said she traveled through darkness toward a light, not a tunnel exactly, but a movement. She said time didn't exist there. She saw her life replayed, not as memories, but as feelings. Every joy, every regret. She felt the pain she caused others, but without judgment, only understanding. Then she heard a voice say, "It's not your time." And she woke up. The third case is one doctors still debate. A patient suffered severe brain trauma. EEG readings showed no measurable activity. Yet later, the patient described hearing conversations that happened while unconscious, including a joke told by a doctor. That joke was verified. Doctors had no explanation. Skeptics argue the brain releases chemicals like DMT. Others say oxygen loss creates hallucinations. But these theories struggle to explain verified observations. If the brain was inactive, then what was perceiving? Across cultures, NDEs share patterns, leaving the body, moving through darkness, a sense of peace, a review of life, a choice or command to return. Different beliefs, different religions, same structure. That consistency raises questions. Doctors remain divided. Some believe consciousness is entirely physical. Others admit something doesn't fit. If awareness ends with the brain, then these stories should not exist, but they do. So what is consciousness? A product of neurons or something more? Some scientists suggest the brain may act like a filter, not creating awareness, but receiving it. Like a radio, break the radio and the signal distorts. Destroy it and the signal is gone, locally. But the broadcast continues. This idea changes everything because it means death may not be an end, but a transition. None of this proves life after death, but it also cannot be ignored. Too many stories, too many similarities, too many unanswered questions. If consciousness survives, then death is not a wall. It is a door. And if that door exists, One day, we will all find out what's on the other side. Many doctors who witness near-death experiences do not talk about them publicly, not because they don't care, but because medicine is trained to avoid uncertainty. In hospitals, everything has an explanation, every reaction has a cause, every symptom has a mechanism. Near-death experiences challenge that order. Some doctors quietly admit that these cases disturb them. They have seen patients describe events that happened while their bodies were unresponsive. They have heard details that could not have been guessed. And yet, there is pressure to explain everything through the brain. Common explanations include lack of oxygen, chemical release, stress-induced hallucinations. These ideas make sense on the surface, but they leave gaps. If oxygen loss causes confusion, why are these experiences often clear and structured? If chemicals cause hallucinations, why are the stories so similar across cultures? And why do many patients describe thinking more clearly than ever before? Some doctors admit something feels missing, not proof, but certainty. One of the most reported elements of near-death experiences is the life review. People describe seeing their entire life in moments, not like watching a movie, but like reliving every emotion at once. They feel what others felt because of them: kindness, pain, regret. What is striking is that many report no judgment, only understanding. Patients often say this moment changed them permanently. They became less afraid of death, more compassionate, less focused on success or status. Doctors find this change difficult to explain. Hallucinations usually fade, but these changes last for years. Some patients return with a strong sense of purpose. Others struggle to fit back into everyday life. They feel different, as if they've seen something they cannot unsee. Some researchers propose a different idea, that the brain does not create consciousness, it limits it. This idea is known as the filter theory. According to this view, consciousness exists independently. The brain acts like a receiver. When the brain is healthy, awareness is focused. When the brain is damaged, the filter weakens. This could explain why some near-death experiences feel expanded, not dimmed, not chaotic, but wider. It could explain dreams, meditation, and moments of deep insight. This theory is controversial, but it addresses a problem neuroscience still cannot solve: why experience exists at all. We can measure neurons, but not meaning. We can track signals, but not awareness. Near-death experiences do not prove life after death, but they force an uncomfortable question. If consciousness can exist when the brain is silent, then what are we really? Are we bodies that think, or awareness that temporarily inhabits a body? Science has not answered this. Religion claims answers but offers no proof. Between them lies uncertainty, and uncertainty is where fear lives, but also curiosity. If death is not the end, then life carries more weight. Every action matters. Every moment leaves an imprint. And perhaps that is the point. Not certainty, but experience. So when people return from near-death experiences and say they are no longer afraid, we should listen, because one day, every one of us will face the same silence. And then we will learn whether consciousness truly ends, or whether it simply continues. Near-death experiences are not limited to one country. They are reported across cultures, in different languages, in different belief systems, in people who never studied religion or philosophy. Some were children, Some were scientists. Some were skeptics before their experience. And yet, the core elements remain strikingly similar. People describe leaving the body. They describe moving away from the physical world. They describe a sense of clarity, not confusion. One of the most unusual aspects is time. Many people say time did not exist, or that it felt meaningless. Minutes felt like hours. Hours felt like seconds. Some say they experienced everything at once. This is difficult to explain using normal brain function. The brain depends on time. Thought follows sequence. But these experiences feel outside of sequence, outside of time itself. Another common change appears after near-death experiences, the loss of fear. Many people say they are no longer afraid of dying. This does not mean they want to die. It means death no longer feels like an ending. Doctors find this change unusual. Fear is deeply rooted in biology. It protects us. Yet after these experiences, fear fades. Some patients struggle to explain why. They simply say they know something now, not intellectually, but deeply. This often creates conflict. They return to a world that feels smaller, louder, more rushed. They feel disconnected from everyday concerns. Money feels less important. Status feels meaningless. Connection matters more. Presence matters more. Doctors cannot measure this shift, but families notice it. Friends notice it. Something has changed. Near-death experiences leave us with no final answer, only questions. Science explains much about the brain, but not why awareness exists. Religion offers meaning, but not proof. Between them lies mystery, and mystery makes us uncomfortable. But maybe discomfort is the point. If death were fully understood, life might lose its urgency. If everything were certain, nothing would feel meaningful. Perhaps uncertainty keeps us awake, keeps us paying attention. Near-death experiences may not reveal what happens after death, but they reveal something about life, that awareness matters, that experience matters, that how we treat others matters. Because if consciousness continues, then nothing is wasted. And if it does not, then this moment becomes even more precious. Either way, the question remains. When the body falls silent, does awareness disappear? Or does it simply move somewhere we cannot yet measure? One day, every one of us will find out. Until then, we live, we observe, we wonder.